Cillian Murphy, usually known for his quiet intensity and composed demeanor, shocked viewers when a scheduled interview on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert took an unexpected and heated turn. The evening had started off light. Murphy promoting his latest film, trading polite jokes with Colbert, and charming the audience with his usual understated wit. But as the segment progressed, Colbert pushed the conversation into political territory. It wasn't the first time the host had done this, but Murphy's reaction wasn't what anyone expected. What began as a slight disagreement quickly turned into a full-blown verbal clash that visibly shifted the energy in the studio. Murphy, growing colder with each probing question, finally pushed back, and it was no performance. His tone sharpened, his responses became clipped, and the tension between the two men became impossible to ignore. Colbert, likely expecting his usual mix of political banter and passive guest responses, was taken aback when Murphy challenged his framing. "You're asking questions with answers baked into them," Murphy said, breaking his usual calm. The audience tensed. Colbert, trying to maintain control, laughed awkwardly, but Murphy wasn't smiling. He continued, criticizing how late-night television often masks loaded political narratives behind humor. "If we're going to have a real conversation," he added, "then let's stop pretending it's just jokes." The remark struck a nerve. Colbert tried to pivot, but the damage was done. Murphy had exposed the performative edge of the format in front of millions, and his refusal to play along made the room feel suddenly raw and real. Not willing to back down, Colbert leaned in with a snide comment about actors thinking they're philosophers, clearly trying to cut Murphy down with wit. That's when things boiled over. Murphy, no longer hiding his irritation, responded sharply, "I don't have to be a philosopher to know when I'm being patronized on national television." Gasps echoed through the audience. Colbert, visibly stunned, opened his mouth to respond, but paused. Murphy wasn't done. He calmly but firmly laid out how media figures use charm to control narratives and silence disagreement. "You cloak opinion in laughter, and it's cowardice," he said. At that moment it became clear that Murphy wasn't just upset, he was making a statement. The crowd, unsure whether to clap or sit in stunned silence, stayed frozen. What followed was a surreal few minutes where neither man backed down. Colbert, trying to recover, insisted the show was a space for light-hearted conversation, but Murphy wasn't having it. "Then maybe don't bring serious topics into it unless you're ready to hear serious answers," he said. The studio had gone dead quiet. Even the band, usually quick with musical cues to ease tension, held back. Producers behind the scenes looked uneasy. This wasn't going the way anyone planned, and Murphy clearly wasn't about to give the polite, PR-friendly soundbites most celebrity guests provide. He had made it clear he wasn't there to be managed or molded, and that refusal sent a ripple through the live audience and through social media just moments later. Sensing things had gone too far, Colbert offered a half-hearted attempt to bring the interview back on track. But it was too late. Murphy leaned forward, looked him directly in the eye, and said quietly, "I came here out of respect, but if you can't offer the same, then I'm done." Without another word, Murphy removed his microphone, stood up, and calmly walked off. The camera caught the stunned expression on Colbert's face as the crew scrambled to cut to commercial. The audience, caught between confusion and admiration, watched in silence. Murphy's walk-off wasn't theatrical. It was deliberate, powerful, and dead serious. It was the kind of unscripted moment that breaks through the artificial gloss of late-night TV and lives on in internet legend forever. Social media erupted within seconds. Clips of Murphy's final words hit X, TikTok, and YouTube faster than the network could upload the official segment. Hashtags like "Murphy walks out," "Colbert clash," and "Respect goes both ways" began trending across the globe. Fans and critics alike debated what had gone wrong and who was truly at fault. Some praised Murphy for refusing to be cornered or belittled. Others criticized him for being too intense for a comedy show. But regardless of where they stood, everyone agreed on one thing. This wasn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong. It was something much deeper. Commentators began calling it a defining moment in the conversation about media tone, guest treatment, and the tension between entertainment and truth. Insider sources later revealed that Murphy had expressed concerns to producers before the show about being drawn into political commentary. His appearance was supposed to focus on his film, but Colbert had other plans. As some crew members described it, Murphy felt ambushed, led into a trap disguised as light banter. The authenticity of his reaction, though, is what kept the story alive. Viewers felt they had seen something real, something unscripted and human. It became a point of discussion across entertainment circles. Should late-night hosts challenge their guests or just entertain? And when guests push back, does that represent unprofessionalism or honesty? In a rare public statement days later, Murphy addressed the moment with restraint and class. He wrote, "I value real conversation. I value mutual respect. I left because both were gone." The statement only fueled further respect from fans, many of whom applauded his choice to walk away rather than play into a system that expects silence in exchange for screen time. Colbert, on the other hand, avoided the topic for a few days before finally offering a lukewarm explanation on his next broadcast, calling the moment a miscommunication. But by then, the narrative had escaped his control. Murphy had already become a symbol of artistic integrity over media performance. Podcasts, talk shows, and digital panels lit up with analysis. Pundits, actors, and even psychologists weighed in, discussing the emotional intelligence of Murphy's reaction versus the power dynamics at play on such shows. The phrase "Murphy moment" began trending, used to describe any time someone calmly exits a toxic conversation with dignity. While some TV execs reportedly blacklisted Murphy for being difficult, others called him a breath of fresh air in an industry full of yes-men. Fans flooded his past interviews with praise, highlighting his consistent depth, humility, and refusal to chase headlines. Whether he intended to or not, Murphy had sparked a real cultural conversation. In the weeks following the incident, Murphy's popularity didn't decline, it soared. New interviews were requested from platforms known for real conversation. Over staged entertainment, viewers saw him in a new light, not just as a brilliant actor, but as someone unwilling to compromise his principles for the sake of PR. Meanwhile, Colbert's show struggled with backlash and a noticeable dip in live audience engagement. What was meant to be just another episode turned into a watershed moment in modern media. And through it all, Cillian Murphy remained silent, confident, in the knowledge that walking away with self-respect is sometimes the loudest statement a person can make.